Hi, I'm Dr. Pranjal Gupta, medical school admissions expert at Shemmassian Academic Consulting. And today I'll be answering a question that we hear all the time from medical school applicants. Am I too old for medical school? Becoming a doctor takes years and years of intensive study. Depending on your specialty, you could be in school for well over a decade before all is said and done. In addition, the medical school applications process is notoriously competitive, and most applicants worry about factors outside their control affecting their admissions prospects. You might be wondering, will admissions committees question my abilities to succeed in med school when reviewing my application if I'm significantly older? We'll discuss the various challenges you should be prepared for as an older candidate so you can make an informed decision. In this video, I'll talk a bit about non-traditional applicants and the changing landscape of medical school admissions. Then I'll address some common concerns older applicants may have at medical school before ultimately revealing the ways that being an older candidate may actually help strengthen your application. Let's get started. You may be worried that being an older candidate may make you less appealing to admissions committees. You might worry that they'll see your age as an indicator that you may be unable to keep up with younger students. Alternatively, you may worry that your application will be judged unfairly because you decided to switch careers. Maybe you'll think that means that they'll think that you're not as dedicated. As I said before, these are very common concerns, but if you think that I'm building up to a big reveal of the age at which you'd no longer be a competitive applicant to med school, you're wrong. Because in actuality, there's no cutoff age. People apply and are accepted to medical school from every conceivable age group, and many older applicants go on to top medical schools and ultimately make excellent physicians. You probably already have an idea of what a traditional medical school applicant looks like. The traditional candidate is in their final year of their undergraduate degree. They usually apply in hopes of attending medical school the following fall, also known as applying straight through. These are the lucky few who realize what they want to do from a very young age and are able to find ways to meet all the extracurricular and academic expectations required to gain admission to medical school while they're completing their undergraduate degree. On the other hand, non-traditional applicant is an umbrella term that encapsulates all the other candidates to medical school. It might surprise you to know that non-traditional is more or less becoming the new normal among medical school applicants. In fact, according to the AAMC, the average medical student is 24, so it's becoming more and more common for applicants to take a few years off before starting medical school. Non-traditional candidates include people who pursued careers outside of medicine, who ultimately decide to pursue a career in medicine later in life. Non-traditional candidates can also include applicants who finish their undergraduate degree and complete their pre-med course requirements, but who take a few years off to put in clinic hours, improve their MCAT score, or to build up their savings. It might surprise you to know that Johns Hopkins boasted that a whopping 17% of their incoming medical school class had humanities backgrounds. And they're not alone. Harvard Medical School has also said that it welcomes applications from non-traditional applicants. What medical schools are looking for is pretty simple: applicants who they think will become exceptional and competent physicians. A well-rounded candidate with a strong application can be of any age, and AdComs know this. But this doesn't change the fact that developing a strong application is a challenge for every candidate. And developing the strongest possible application as an older candidate means being aware of your strengths as well as your weaknesses. As an older candidate, there are some challenges to succeeding in medical school that may seem daunting. You may worry about finances. If you've spent a good amount of time working in another career, it might be hard to walk away from a salaried position in order to head back to school. And it goes without saying that medical school and the ensuing years are expensive. And as an older candidate, you need to ask yourself if you're prepared to take those costs on. If you're a candidate with a spouse, children, or other familial responsibilities, these costs can be even more nerve-wracking. As a medical student, the demands on your time will be exceptionally high. When you're in medical school, your training comes first. You'll need to ask yourself if you and your family are ready for that change. And while these are difficult questions, it's important that you take those answers seriously. You want to address these in your application. As you prepare to apply for medical school, there may be other considerations as well. For example, you might have pursued a career completely outside of the health field. As a result, you may have not completed the undergraduate course requirements for admission to medical school. The AAMC requires that prerequisite courses be taken at least at a community college level. Plenty of potential applicants with humanities degrees take on a do-it-yourself approach, taking classes while they can, sometimes while working, at community colleges. Community colleges can be a great low-cost alternative. But if you've been away from school for some time, you may have some concerns beyond just taking prereqs. You may want to develop relationships with potential recommenders or get help preparing for the MCAT. If you're willing to take on more schooling, post-baccalaureate programs may be a great option for you. If you want to hear more about this, check out our video, Post-Baccalaureate Pre-Med Programs. Are they right for you? Linked in the description below. The truth is, medical school will be challenging for every person who attends. Only you can decide if you're ready to take that challenge. Of course, like every applicant, you want your application to be as strong as possible. That means studying hard for the MCAT, putting in clinic hours, and writing strong essays that market yourself as an excellent future doctor capable of enduring the challenges of medical school. The fact is, addressing these challenges in your application is actually an important part in making your application as strong as possible. Medical school admissions are notoriously competitive, and as an older candidate, you have to find ways to frame your experiences in order to stand out amongst the competition. Like every candidate, you'll be expected to perform well on your MCAT and have a strong GPA in prereqs. As an older candidate, your life experiences might allow you to write more insightful personal essays that can put your application in a much stronger place. For example, as part of your application, you have the opportunity to highlight up to 15 separate work or extracurricular experiences. As an older candidate, it's likely that filling these lines is much easier of a feat than for a candidate with less work experience. And when it comes time to expand on the impact and personal growth that these experiences have had on you, you can use your life experience and insight to explore the ways in which your work experience has ultimately led you to the medical field. Your story may be unconventional, and you can use that to your advantage. And indeed, if you're coming from a field outside medicine, you may have a valuable outside perspective on the medical field that a student who hasn't had the opportunity to work may not have. For example, if you worked a career in sales, you've probably developed very strong interpersonal and communication skills that will ultimately serve you well as a physician. Think about the skills you've developed in your career, whatever it may be, and consider how those skills might make you a stronger doctor. You'll probably come up with unique insights that medical school admissions committees will see as valuable. Further, as an older candidate, that life experience may lend itself to confidence that can help you excel in your interviews. In other words, as you prepare your application, you want to think about all the ways being older and wise will make you a stronger candidate, not a weaker one. I'll talk you through the experience of an example older applicant to medical school. Names and identifying details have been changed. Carrie is a 35-year-old engineer. A few years ago, her brother was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and as a result, she began volunteering at various local clinics. While she finds her day job intellectually challenging, she finds herself more and more engaged with the medical setting she's spending her free time with. She wants her work and research to help change people's lives in a more fundamental way. After seeing how critical excellent medical care has been to her brother and the people she volunteers with, she decides to apply to medical school. While working her full-time job, she finds the time to study and excels in the MCAT. She gets a strong score that puts her in line with the expectations of top programs, which puts her in a strong position. When she approaches her essays, she has to be sure to position herself carefully in order to effectively highlight her strengths as an older candidate. For example, when answering the "why do you want to be a doctor" essay question, she should address why she wants to be a physician at this particular time in her life. In her essay, she'll talk about her experiences at the clinic and describe how the volunteer environment inspired her to change her career path, as well as the skills and experiences from her engineering experience that she's brought to the clinic. In framing her answer to the question this way, Carrie is able to demonstrate her desire while also highlighting the strengths she'll bring to the medical field if she's accepted. Strengths she wouldn't have been able to bring to the table without her previous work experience. The decision to attend medical school is a highly personal one, but if you've long dreamed about becoming a physician, we strongly discourage you from viewing your age as an obstacle or barrier to your success. At the end of the day, medical schools want to admit a diverse cohort of individuals who they feel will be great physicians. This can be true of applicants whether they're 20, 30, or 50 years old. If you take the time to prepare, both for the application and the challenges ahead, you have the same chance any medical school candidate would, no matter your age. That's it for this video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on new videos. And for even more guidance on becoming a great medical school candidate, check out our free guide, How to Get into Medical School, which is linked in the description below. The guide is full of strategies we've used to help students of all ages get into top medical schools like Harvard, Hopkins, and UCLA. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.